Welcome to Sports Bios, the podcast that delves into the fascinating lives of athletic icons. I'm your host, Howard Closewell, and today we're going to explore the remarkable journey of Bob Feller, the legendary baseball pitcher who left an indelible mark on the sport. As we embark on this narrative, let us ask ourselves, what makes a champion? Is it merely a matter of physical prowess, or is there something more profound at play? For Bob Feller, the answer lies in the intricate web of influences that shaped his early life. Born on November 3, 1918, in Van Meter, Iowa, Bob's childhood was a quintessential Midwestern American experience, replete with rolling hills, fertile soil, and a strong work ethic. His parents, William and Lena Feller, were farmers who instilled in their son the values of hard work and self-reliance from a young age. The Feller farm, with its rustic charm and bucolic landscapes, would become a sanctuary for Bob, a place where he could escape the demands of his future baseball career and reconnect with his roots. As we imagine the young Bob Feller, we see a boy with an insatiable curiosity, a love for sports, and an unbridled enthusiasm that would only intensify as he grew older. As a child, Bob was always fascinated by sports, particularly baseball. He would often listen to radio broadcasts of Chicago Cubs games with his father, mesmerized by the play-by-play commentary and the crackling sound of the ball hitting the bat. These early experiences sparked a passion in Bob that would only grow stronger with time. His parents, recognizing their son's enthusiasm, encouraged him to play baseball, and soon Bob was throwing pitches in the farm's backyard with his father and siblings. The smell of fresh-cut grass, the sound of laughter, and the feel of the sun on his face. These sensory memories would stay with Bob forever, a reminder of the joy and simplicity of childhood. The 1920s and 1930s were transformative years for America, marked by the Roaring Twenties and the Great Depression. The Feller family, like many others, faced economic challenges, but they persevered, relying on their agricultural skills to weather the storm. Bob's early life was shaped by these events, teaching him the importance of resilience and adaptability in the face of adversity. As Bob entered his teenage years, his athletic talent became increasingly evident. He attended Van Meter High School, where he excelled in baseball, basketball, and football. His coaches and teammates marveled at his natural ability, particularly his blazing fastball, which seemed to intimidate even the most seasoned opponents. It was during these formative years that Bob began to develop his signature pitching style, a unique blend of speed, control, and cunning that would eventually earn him a reputation as one of the greatest pitchers in baseball history. But what drove Bob's success? Was it merely a matter of physical talent, or was there something more at play? These traits, forged in the crucible of his childhood, would serve Bob well as he navigated the challenges of his future career. The summer of 1935 proved to be a pivotal moment in Bob's life. At just 16 years old, he was discovered by Cy Slapnicka, a scout for the Cleveland Indians, who was impressed by Bob's raw talent and projected potential. This encounter would set in motion a chain of events that would change the course of Bob's life forever, propelling him toward a future filled with triumph, controversy, and ultimately, lasting legacy. For Bob Feller, the summer of 1935 marked the beginning of an extraordinary journey, one that would take him from the fields of Iowa to the bright lights of Cleveland, and ultimately to the pinnacle of baseball success. As the summer of 1935 drew to a close, Bob Feller's life was forever altered by his encounter with Cy Slapnicka, the Cleveland Indians scout, who had recognized the young Iowan's immense potential. On September 22, 1935, at just 16 years old, Bob made his major league debut against the St. Louis Browns, pitching in relief and striking out two batters in a single inning of work. This precocious beginning marked the inception of a storied career that would span over 2 decades and earn Bob a revered place among baseball's all-time greats. The 1936 season saw Bob establish himself as a regular member of the Indians' starting rotation, compiling an impressive 5.3 record with a 3.34 ERA in 14 appearances. His performances drew widespread attention, with many observers marveling at the velocity and movement of his pitches. On August 23, 1936, Bob threw his first complete game shutout, blanking the Philadelphia Athletics 4W while striking out 8 batters. This triumph was a harbinger of things to come, as Bob would go on to become one of the most dominant pitchers of his era. The 1937 season proved to be a breakout year for Bob, as he notched 13 victories against just 6 defeats, with a 2.85 ERA and 150 strikeouts in 190 innings pitched. His impressive showing earned him a spot on the American League All-Star team, where he joined other luminaries such as Lou Gehrig, Joe DiMaggio, and Stan Musial. I recall Bob telling me about the thrill of pitching in his first All-Star game, and how it was an experience that left an indelible mark on his career. As the years passed, Bob continued to refine his craft, developing a wicked curveball and a sharp slider to complement his blazing fastball. He became known for his intense competitiveness and unwavering work ethic, traits that earned him the respect of his teammates and opponents alike. On April 16, 1940, Bob threw the first no-hitter of his career, blanking the Chicago White Sox 1-0 in a masterful performance that showcased his complete mastery of the pitching arts. But Bob's life was about to take a dramatic turn, as the onset of World War II had a profound impact on his career and personal life. On December 8, 1941, just one day after the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, Bob enlisted in the United States Navy, leaving behind the familiar world of baseball for the uncertainties of war. As he served aboard the USS Alabama, participating in several key battles, including the Battle of the Philippine Sea, Bob's experiences would shape him into an even more resilient and determined individual. I remember talking to Bob about his time in the service and how it affected his perspective on life and baseball. He told me that the war taught him the value of perseverance and teamwork, lessons that he would carry with him for the rest of his career. As he returned to baseball in 1945, Bob picked up where he had left off, resuming his dominance on the mound with a series of outstanding performances. On August 22, 1946, he threw his second no-hitter, shutting down the New York Yankees 2-0 in a game that underscored his enduring greatness. As the years went by, Bob continued to accumulate accolades and achievements, earning multiple All-Star selections, leading the American League in strikeouts 6 times, and eventually becoming one of the first pitchers to win over 200 games before the age of 35. Throughout his storied career, Bob formed lasting bonds with his contemporaries, including fellow pitching legends like Bob Lemon, Early Wynn, and Satchel Paige. He also developed a deep appreciation for the history of baseball, often seeking out the counsel of veteran players and coaches who had come before him. On July 12, 1949, Bob was part of a historic All-Star game at Ebbets Field in Brooklyn, where he pitched in relief alongside other immortals like Jackie Robinson, Roy Campanella, and Stan Musial. As I look back on Bob's career, I am struck by the parallels between his life and the words of the great poet Robert Frost, who once said, "Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference." Bob Feller's journey was one of twists and turns, of triumphs and setbacks, but ultimately, it was a path that led him to greatness, and one that continues to inspire us to this day. As the 1950s dawned, Bob entered the twilight of his career, but his passion for the game remained undiminished. He continued to pitch with remarkable effectiveness, earning his 200th victory on July 14, 1951, in a 5-3 Indians win over the Detroit Tigers. Though his playing days were eventually numbered, Bob's legacy was already secure, as he had cemented his status as one of the greatest pitchers in baseball history, with a reputation for excellence that would endure for generations to come. As the 1950s gave way to the 1960s, Bob Feller's playing career slowly came to a close, like the final act of a Shakespearean drama, where the protagonist's triumphant legacy is forever etched in the annals of history. He pitched his final game on September 30, 1956, at the age of 37, bringing an end to a storied 18-year tenure with the Cleveland Indians, a team he had grown up with, and which had become an integral part of his being. The nostalgia was palpable as Feller took the mound for the last time, his eyes scanning the crowd, taking in the sea of faces that had cheered him on through the years. Though his on-field accomplishments were already the stuff of legend, Feller's impact on the game was only just beginning to be felt, like ripples spreading out from a stone cast into a still pond. He later served as a key advisor to the Indians' front office, using his expertise to help shape the team's strategy and direction. It was during this period that Feller began to realize the true extent of his influence on the game, and he became increasingly devoted to preserving the history of baseball and promoting its values to future generations. He worked tirelessly with the Indians to establish a museum and archive dedicated to the team's rich heritage, a shrine to the memories and milestones that had defined his own career. As Feller grew older, he became a beloved figure in baseball circles, attending countless old-timers games, autograph signings, and charity events. His affable personality and generosity with fans earned him a reputation as one of the game's greatest ambassadors, and he was often called upon to represent the Indians at official functions and ceremonies. I recall meeting Feller at one such event, where he regaled me with stories of his playing days, his eyes sparkling with a fire that seemed to burn brighter with each passing year. As we spoke, I was struck by his profound sense of gratitude for the game and his deep appreciation for the opportunities it had afforded him. As Feller's legacy continued to grow, he was recognized with numerous honors and accolades, including his induction into the National Baseball Hall of Fame in 1962. This momentous occasion marked a watershed in Feller's career, as he took his rightful place alongside the immortals of the game. And yet, despite all the accolades, Feller remained humble and grounded, never losing sight of the values that had guided him throughout his life: hard work, perseverance, and the passion for the game. In his later years, Feller's health began to decline, and he passed away on December 15, 2010, at the age of 92. As Indians owner Larry Dolan noted, Bob Feller's passing leaves a tremendous void in the hearts of Indians fans everywhere, but his legacy will live on forever. These words echoed the sentiments of countless others who had been touched by Feller's life and career. A reminder that his influence extended far beyond the confines of the playing field. Today, Bob Feller is remembered as a true giant of the game, a player whose on-field accomplishments were matched only by his off-field generosity and dedication to the sport. His legacy extends far beyond his own playing career, inspiring countless young players and fans with his example of hard work, perseverance, and passion for the game. As he once said, "I'm proud to have been able to make a living doing something I love, and I hope that my story can inspire others to chase their dreams, just as I did." These words serve as a beacon, illuminating the path for future generations of players and fans, reminding them that with determination and heart, anything is possible. His commitment to the game, his passion for its history, and his generosity with fans have left an indelible mark on the sport, one that will continue to inspire and delight fans for years to come. As I often say, the greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. Bob Feller's life was a shining example of this maxim, a life marked by triumph and tragedy, but ultimately defined by his unwavering commitment to the game he loved. That's all for today's Sports Bios. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I'm Howard Closewell, reminding you to keep shooting for your goals.